consider 40 my prime. Can I touch on something real quick? So a lot of times, I'm very opposed, or I'm the devil's advocate when it comes to statistics, especially for Black people. And in the beginning, you were asking us about this, and I think you said 50% of Black men are married or unmarried. One of the questions I love to get the answer to, or I want us to take into consideration, is if you look at our population, damn near half of us are incarcerated. So if you add incarceration stats into the multitude of all of us, then those numbers are going to look uneven as fuck.
Very skewed, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And even when my man was talking about in 1965, our death rate was probably higher because men were getting lynched and dealing with Ku Klux Klan and things of that nature. But now, when you transition from 65 to the 90s, you look at mass incarceration, and brothers are getting locked up more. You know what I mean?
And what's the incarceration rate now?
I know we make up a minimum of 30 to 40% of mass incarceration.
38%.
Yeah, exactly.
But to give context, in this situation, that stat stands because unfortunately, the incarcerated brothers are included in the 50%
So
that are not married.
They're in that
so
sense.
just so you know, so in this situation, it doesn't skew it from that sense. But overall, if you want to do it, if you were going to start doing comparisons, then you are right that you would have to consider.
Yeah.
Like that comes in the, like for example, that comes in the fact that they come up when they start talking about who's available to marry to women. So it's like for example,
and when you compare us to white households, majority of white men are not incarcerated.
Right.
So
but I'm just letting you know that 50% does it doesn't change in this situation because it's being considered. But where I'll show you an example where it does affect, just to give a somewhat point to what you're making.
For sure.
So for example, when you start comparing the number of men that are available for Black women, particularly in our culture, the incarceration rate does affect that number of men more so because we have
because
more.
the options are fewer.
Yeah, but the 50% is a solid number in this case, just so you know.
For sure.
So earlier I mentioned how the delay in marriage or waiting to marry later kind of diminishes the benefits of marriage. And when they mention benefits, they're talking about the physical benefits, psychological, and financial well-being. So we can agree, or maybe we can't agree, physically as we get older, we talking about our 40s, your sex drive starts to, it starts to dwindle.
No.
And is that not one of the benefits of marriage?
I've had better sex at 40 than I did when
no,
I was younger.
No, I mean older.
Yeah, but I mean, well...
Like you wait till you 60, 70.
Well, I mean, not... Married, but... If we going to just keep it 100, should nobody be waiting that motherfucking long?
Well, you know I'm just saying, like, but there are...
You know what I'm saying? At 65, you damn near... You're definitely on your decline. As we hold this conversation, I'm thinking more so late 30s to almost mid 40s when we're talking about marriage. Because to me, again, when we talk about the evolution of man, and I'm really speaking more so of myself, I evolved more and learned more about myself, especially when I turned 40, than I did, especially when dealing with a woman and a mate, than I did when I was 35 and younger. I was on my A game as far as work. I was trying to establish myself. I was trying to figure out where I was going in my career. So the possibilities of a woman, it was great. It was cool. But that shit wasn't my priority. And now that I'm 40 and I'm established, it's like, okay, yeah, now I can see a family. I don't know if I necessarily want to have a newborn kid at 40.
And so I think there are absolutely benefits for us as African American men specifically maturing enough to make this decision. That, and again, if you just want to throw out numbers, so ideally maybe 35 to 45 is a great possible time of, in a sense, us finding ourselves. And part of that is due to our American experience. In a sense that culturally what we experience is there's an unfortunate aspect that we can mature later because unfortunately in our hip hop generation, we live out this extended adolescence, unfortunately, with some of the things that we learn. And so unfortunately in our community, we eventually kind of catch up on the marriage rate, but it's usually later marriages with blended families. Whereas, so they've lost the benefits that other cultures, in a sense, are getting ahead in the sense of having children when they're most viable. I'm talking about even the ladies being, you know what I mean?
I consider 40 my prime.
30s, 40s, 50s, we are wiser, hopefully. But as we get older, some of us start to lose track of time as far as keeping up with current things, being relevant, staying, ahead of job trends and being ahead of the game in that way.